Now let's have a look at some hands-on examples. And I want to start with a simple Hello World example. I wanna start simple just to catch everyone here. I'm using a Malduino W here, as you can see. The examples I show you will work on all the tools I've shown you in the previous chapter. I'm simply using the Malduino W because it's the easiest way to showcase these scripts and immediately run them. Okay, I'm starting off by creating a hello world file. I'm going to click on edit and now I can edit the file here. If you're using a different tool, then maybe you just have to create a text file. I'm calling mine hello world since that's what we are going to do now. And yeah, bad USB scripts are nothing else than a simple text file. So this is a hello world example, so of course we wanted to type hello world. How do we do this? Well, we use the string function, like this. Now if we run this script like it is, then it will just type hello world into wherever our cursor is. You can see it only typed world here, and that's because when I click run, I'm no longer in this window here and it just typed it into the void. The text didn't appear anywhere. I clicked into this text field just in time for it to type world. The hello was completely lost. So this is super fast, as you can see. Let me remove that second world here. It's not supposed to be there. If the script is too fast, then, well, we have to make it slower. How do we do this? We can add delays. So for example, delay 2000. And now let me run this script again. See, now it typed hello world again in this text field because that's where my cursor was. But this time I had enough time to actually click into the text field so the text would appear in this field. Of course, you can play with this value. This is in milliseconds, so 2000 is 2 seconds. You can play with that value and you will have to play with that value since this is a crucial part of every script, getting the delay numbers right. But okay, what if we don't have any window open and our cursor is not inside of some text field? What do we do to still have the hello world being typed out somewhere? Well, we have to open a software. We have to open a new window, something where we can enter text. On Windows, the best thing to do that is the Notepad application. It's the most basic text editor you can get. It comes with every Windows computer, and as soon as you open it, you can start typing right away. So how do we make it so our script opens that Notepad window for us? Well, we have to think about how we could open it up ourselves just by using a keyboard. For example, you could press the Windows key and just search for Notepad and then press enter. But I want to use a different way, and I think I've already shown you that in the last lesson. And that is the GUI R command. So this line is not that magic. It just presses the Windows key and the R key at the same time. And this will launch this run window. Now, why is this better than pressing the Windows key? If you press the Windows key and enter text, then it will perform a search. And maybe it will find a different program than the one you intend to open. Or maybe it will suggest you go to a website or open a file. If you use the run window, this can't happen. You just enter Notepad like I have here and press enter and Notepad will be opened. There isn't really much that can go wrong here as long as you enter the correct string. So now that we tested this and know that it works, we have to put it into our script. So what did I do? Well, I pressed Windows R, which we can put in our script as GUI R. Then I entered the string Notepad. Then I pressed enter. And then it should type hello world. Let's see if this works. As you can see, it works, though it is a bit slow, and that's because of our delay 2000 here. But if we get rid of it and run the script again, something goes wrong. Now we have world in our run window. What happens here is that our script is running too fast. It presses the Windows R key combination, but before the computer is ready to accept an input here, the bad USB already is at the 4th line here, which is sending hello world to the computer. So things just get messed up. The computer isn't fast enough. The bad USB is just faster than the computer. That's not surprising because computers are really fast, but the user interfaces are built for humans. So if we open a new window, it's not instantly open. There is a little animation. Sometimes it takes a second. And for us, this usually doesn't matter. A lot of the times it feels better if the window is launching with a nice animation. But for our bad USB, this is annoying because the computer takes time. And the bad USB doesn't know when a window is launched and doesn't know when the computer is ready to accept new input. So we have to tell it to do that. But instead of re-adding the delay 2000 we had before, I'm going to suggest we add a new line in the very top with default delay, and now we put something like 200 in there. So 200 milliseconds. Default delay is a function that sets a default delay of 200 milliseconds. So this default delay is used after every single line of our script going forward. So it presses the Windows R combination, waits 200 milliseconds, then enters Notepad, waits 200 milliseconds, presses enter, and so on. It's always waiting 200 milliseconds. Let's see if that works now. You can see it was really, really fast and nothing messed up. Now we can play with this value. We can put it to 100 and see if our script still works. Yeah, it works. And now it feels like everything is happening almost instantly. Now, depending on your computer, this value has to be higher or lower. So just, play around with it. If we want, we can put it to 1000 as well and see everything happening step by step. You see it opening the window, entering Notepad, pressing enter, and then entering Hello World. So that's also a really nice way to debug your script, just to slow down everything and make sure every step is entered correctly. So yeah, that was a very, very simple Hello World example. I'm thinking of what else I can show you here. On the Arduino W, you can change the keyboard layout like this. So you specify locale, it's a function, and then the keyboard layout you want to use. I'm using the German keyboard layout, so I have to use DE. And now I can use funny German characters or stuff like these characters that would otherwise mess up because they're mapped differently on a German keyboard. These are very common to mess up if you're using the wrong keyboard layout. And these might be crucial for scripts we are going to look at later on. This is a command used in the Wi-Fi duck and Arduino W. It's not a command that's accessible to every bad USB. So definitely look up the documentation. I just wanted to bring it up here because maybe you run into issues because you use a different keyboard layout. So you have to know how to change that on your tool. But yeah, let's see if that works. I'm just going to change the default delay again and run it. And yeah, now it types this correctly. Just as a comparison, if we set it to a US keyboard layout, which is the default, and run it again, then you see weird stuff happens. Yeah, this is definitely not the input we were given it. So I'm going to change it back to DE. Another thing we could add to our script is a comment. We can do this by using the rem function and then add whatever comment you want. For example, this is a simple Hello World example script for a German keyboard, like this. Now, the example I've shown you here is working on a Windows computer. If you're using Mac or Linux or something else, then the script has to be changed, of course, because the GUI-R key combination doesn't work on Mac or doesn't work on a Linux machine. Same with Notepad, that's also a Windows application. So those two lines have to be adjusted to the target operating system. On Mac, for example, you can use GUI space. So this will press the Command CMD button, also called Apple key. So it would press that button and space at the same time, which will launch this search window. And then instead of searching for Notepad, because that doesn't exist on Mac, you can search for text edit, which is Notepad equivalent on macOS, and press enter. And with that, this script should work on Mac OS and with no problems. As for Linux, well, you just have to adjust that to whatever distribution you use. Different distributions have different combinations and different applications. So yeah, just think of how could you open a text editor on your Linux machine if you have one. Okay, now another simple example, and that's opening a link. I'm going to make a new script. I'm calling it open link. And yeah, what do we want to do? We just want the bad USB to open a website for us. On Windows, this is again very easy. We just use the GUI-R key combination again. Then we enter whatever URL we want to have it open. So for example, we could have it open spacehuhn.com, just as a unbiased example here. And then of course, press enter to actually launch it. Let's see if that works. Oh, it messes up. What is it telling us? Yeah, it can't find this weird address. Now this is because I forgot to specify the German keyboard layout. Now let's run this again. And here we have it. It's opening my website. This is how my website looks right now because I haven't launched anything yet in 2022 at least. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, you might have to add a default delay. But yeah, this is how you open a link. On Mac, it's pretty much the same thing. Just again, instead of GUI-R, you do GUI space and then enter the link and press enter. This should work. Now, instead of opening spacehuhn.com, we could have it open a website that's potentially malicious. To give you a taste of what is possible, I'm going to show you a little prank website. This is fakeupdate.net. It pretends to run a Windows 10 update. I think they have other updating sequences here as well. Yeah, you can even pretend like the computer has a malware. But we are going to go with the Windows 10 update screen. So I'm copying that URL. And now instead of opening spacehuhn.com, I just open that website. Well, this isn't super convincing because we can still see that this is just a browser, not a real update, right? Well, if we press F11, the website goes into full screen. If we want to leave the full screen, we just press F11 again. But if it's in full screen, it's very convincing. It looks just like the original Windows update. So after going to the website, we just press F11. Now let's run the script again. That's it. Now you have a bad USB that you can just plug into an unlocked computer and make it pretend it's doing an update. This is not super evil, this is just a little prank. But of course you could make it open any sort of website. But okay, now to the last simple example I want to show you here, and that's how to open a terminal. So I'm going to make a new script. I'm calling it terminal. If you have access to the terminal, you pretty much have access to the entire computer. You can do pretty much whatever you want. There are, of course, some exceptions, but on Windows, in most cases, being in the terminal means owning that computer. What's the easiest way to get into the terminal on Windows? GUI-R, CMD, enter. And that's it. We are in the terminal. Now we can run commands. We can go into folders, we can delete files, we can download files, and so on. I don't want to teach you the terminal now. This is a whole new rabbit hole. And I, of course, invite you to do more research on that yourself. If you're using Mac, again, then you have to do some research on that. If you're using Linux, then you have to look into that. They are all a bit different. Okay, Mac and Linux are pretty much the same, but Windows is definitely different than Linux. But yeah, the more you know about the terminal and how to do things there, the more you will be able to do with your bad USB. Because the terminal is text input only. It's perfect for a bad USB. We can just run a command like tree and there it goes. Now tree is just a fun command that dumps all of the contents of your hard drive, all the folder structures, everything into the terminal, and it can run for quite a while depending on how big your hard drive is. Here you see some data or some folders of, I think this is Battlefield, which is a game I have installed. But yeah, you can run all sorts of commands. Okay, how do we translate this into a script? Well, as always, we start with GUIR. We enter CMD. We press enter. Now we are in the terminal where we can enter a command like tree. Press enter again to run it and to make sure our bad USB isn't too fast. We add another default delay again. Let's run this. There we go. It works. Now you can replace that command with whatever command you want. If you're using Mac, then again it would be GUI space, and instead of CMD you would just type terminal, and the tree also doesn't work. That's a Windows command, so just replace that with whatever you want. You can run who am I or something, and it will tell you your username. But yeah, whatever you do, basically think of the problem you're trying to approach here. What is it you want to do? Do I want to run a command in the terminal? Okay, then how do I get in the terminal? What kind of key combinations are available to me? Is there a script online that already does this where I can copy some code? Test it on your own computer with your own keyboard. You can test it by hand. I mean, you can press Windows R and it will launch the run window. So you know, okay, this combination works. You can enter CMD and you can press enter. And basically you can go through your script step by step beforehand and test everything and then translate that into a bad USB script. And that bad USB script, of course, also has to be tested, which is why a tool like the Arduino W is very useful, because you can just enter it here and click run and it will immediately run. You don't have to put it onto a SD card first or move files or anything like that. You can just run it with a click of a button from the same computer you're testing your script on, which is super useful, especially for me teaching you. But generally, if you want to experiment more, then this is a great way of writing bad USB script. Of course, another big factor that plays into this is knowing your computer. Knowing the operating system, knowing terminal commands, knowing specific key combinations, and just whatever is available to you. The more you know about the computer, the more you will be able to do with a bad USB. And so maybe this topic, if you're very beginner, maybe this is like the first thing you encountered and you bought this course and you're interested in hacking, and the first thing you thought of doing is picking up on bad USBs, then congratulations, this is probably the perfect gateway drug to more hacking, right? So yeah, this is pretty much the core essence of writing bad USB script. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you look at the script, you just have to know a few functions and how to write the keys, and then you're good to go. And everything else you just test and try out. It's really not that hard. I hope these examples can help you get started and understand everything a bit more. I know I didn't show you anything crazy here. I didn't show you how to steal files or install malware or anything. That's not my intention with this lesson. I just wanted to show you how these scripts work by doing some harmless examples. In the next lesson, I will show you how to find scripts online, because there are several websites where you can find scripts written by others so that you don't have to do all the testing and research on how to do specific attacks. People have already done them and shared the scripts with others online. So we will have a look at that. And then I will also show you some of those attacks, like stealing passwords from a computer or opening a reverse shell. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this lesson and that you're now able to do your first scripts. And let me know how it goes.